2 years. It's been almost 2 years since I discovered Chipspeech, and I've been making original content for almost 1 year now. It's also been almost 2 years that the fighting in the Chipspeech community has been raging. Why is that? Why has the Chipspeech fandom become such a bloodbath? And what can we do to stop it? I aim to answer all these questions and stress the urgency of the current state of the fandom to you, all of the Chipspeech fans, in today's video. A lot of people would probably place the blame for the current state of Chipspeech solely on me, and I can understand why. Back then, I was a cruel, spiteful bitch. I was an edgelord in every sense of the word. I started a lot of fights, said a lot of abhorrent, hateful things, did things that nobody should do. But a lot can happen over the course of almost 2 years. Are you exactly the same as you were 2 years ago? 5 years? 10 years? What about 2, 5, or 10 years from now, in the future? Do you think you'll stay exactly the same and have no new experiences, learn nothing new, never change your mind, never get out of any toxic relationships, never make new friends who open your eyes, never regret anything you did? I know that I used to be a terrible person. I'm admitting to that, and I'm wanting to move on from it and get a chance to be a better person. Back then, I believed in a lot of stereotypes, and I said edgy political things online because I wanted to feel like I was scaring people and making a stand. I wanted to feel badass and like nobody could touch me. But all I did was hurt people, and that's not badass at all. It just makes you a toxic asshole nobody likes. And you know what? I really hate the person I used to be. I constantly wish that edgy phase never happened. I never wanted to be a bully, I just wanted to scare off would-be bullies. That's something I'm always going to look back on and be ashamed of, and I'm glad I didn't continue down that dark path. To everybody who is told that I'm an evil right-wing or Nazi bigot or whatever they said I am, I swear on my cat's life and my Aria key, I'm not that person anymore. Hale Parsec is dead, and I don't identify with that school of thought anymore. I regret everything I said about non-binary people and transgender people. To all the transgender and non-binary friends I've made, you've got my deepest gratitude for being here, being a friend, and my sincerest apologies and sympathy for not just what I did in the past, but also for whatever you might be going through right now. I want you to know you're valid no matter what your identity is, and that I love and appreciate you very much, and I support everyone making whatever decisions they need to so that they can feel comfortable in their own skin, because everybody deserves a peaceful, happy life. You know what's right for you, and I really want to support you in that. Like I said, I love you all and I'm here for you, whether you need a shoulder to cry on or somebody to celebrate with. The main, most damning piece of evidence against me is the Glitchkrieg Twitter account. According to the screenshots, I went on an alternate account and said horrible, transphobic, very unsettling things about Chiploider there. Everyone who knows about this believes that I did it, citing a similar typing style to Hale Parsec, which is, of course, my now defunct politics blog. But I can promise you, that was not me. Nobody believes me when I try to tell them that I didn't do it. And it's breaking my heart because people think I'm a bigoted bully, and that goes against everything I stand for. I would never want to hurt anybody the way that I've been hurt before. I loathe bullies. Like myself and the majority of my friends group, Glitchkrieg was neurodivergent, and one thing she had to deal with was severe anger issues. Seeing me getting hate sent her into a spiral of unadulterated rage. She wasn't thinking about who else she might be hurting by going after their identity and opinions. She only cared about getting back at who hurt me. I do have proof of Glitchkrieg talking to me and my other friends about this, but I don't want to share anyone's Discord names because I really don't want anybody harassing Glitchkrieg or my friends, especially because my friends didn't do anything here and Glitchkrieg doesn't even like Chipspeech anymore. I did call her out on this behavior multiple times. I don't believe it's right to harass and mock people for any reason whatsoever, and I really do feel bad for Chip Lawyer and would like to extend my sympathies to them for that. Chip Lawyer, if you're reading this or watching the transcript, I'm truly sorry you had to deal with that, and I hope you don't ever have to go through such an ordeal again. So that's what's led to this chapter of the Chipspeech conflict. What else has been going on since then? Well, due to the actions of some of the people involved, numerous people have fled the Chipspeech fandom and don't like it at all anymore. Most of these people were my friends, and they got bullied and cast out simply for engaging with me. Because of this group's behavior, Chipspeech was ruined for these people who were my friends, even though I tried my best to provide a safe, judgment-free space for them to like Chipspeech in my Discord server, a shelter from the drama and hellish landscape of the Chipspeech tag on Tumblr, or especially Twitter. Unfortunately, my reputation as the Nazi or the bigot or whatever else I was known as made most people avoid the server and my friends. The people on the opposite side of this conflict have made numerous posts about my friends, which is what really got to me. Bullying me is one thing, but seeing my friends be subjected to the same treatment just really hurt. To these people shunning my friends and trying to shut us out of the fandom, why? Shut me out of the fandom? Fine. But what the hell did any of my friends do to you, personally? Did any of them do anything wrong aside from being friends with me? Is that what this is coming to? People are being denied the choice of who to associate with in this fandom, and that really bothers me. You're literally forcing innocent people to pick sides in a conflict that's entirely based on evidence from 2020. A conflict that really isn't anybody else's business. Why do you want to make this anyone else's business? This shouldn't be a fandom-wide divide. There shouldn't be a screening process and unwritten rules to get into Chipspeech. This isn't Area 51 we're talking about, it's a fandom for a voice synth. For me, if you like the characters, you're in. Chipspeech is not an exclusive club that needs an overseer choosing who's allowed and who's not. That's why I think it's so important to leave the petty disagreements and politics out of this, because that's not what Chipspeech is supposed to be about. That's not what any fandom is supposed to be about. I know that you have your opinions, and that's fine, but please, let people be apolitical. Chipspeech isn't about politics, so it really doesn't make any sense to drag politics into it. There's nothing inherently wrong with not wanting to be an activist who watches the news 24/7 and constantly goes to protests. Many people just don't have that kind of mental energy, so they spend most of their time on things that make them feel better, such as, of course, Chipspeech. Chipspeech is meant to be something fun. It's supposed to be a form of escapism. I know all too well that the world is fucked up and horrible, and I can't handle it. If I may just vent a little here, Chipspeech and my boyfriend are really the only two things that give my life any direction and meaning. They keep me hanging on and give me hope in a world that's constantly screaming, "It's hopeless! You're going to be fucking miserable forever! Humanity is evil and there is no God, society is doomed, and so is everything you ever loved!" That's honest to God what politics and socio-political issues mean to me. People telling you to be scared, pissed off, and despondent. I genuinely have cut off all news because I had a panic attack every time I heard about something bad going on in my home country of the United States or elsewhere in the world. I guess my heart is just too weak to handle this much suffering, and I'm trying to cope in any way I can. I don't want so many people to be in pain. I just want the world to be okay, but everyone around me is screaming, the world will never be okay again. And it keeps dragging me back into a dark, depressive place that I've been fighting desperately to leave. Chipspeech, though, gives me the exact opposite feelings. It gives me a spark I hadn't known for years up until that fateful day in 2020. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up, and the last thing I think about before falling asleep. And my boyfriend even came into the picture partially because of Chipspeech. I've made so many close friends, learned so many skills, and taught skills to others from my love of Chipspeech. And many of my friends have had similar experiences as a result of this quirky little voice synth we're all here for. For some people, Chipspeech was the only thing keeping them going. It was their one sanctuary in a tumultuous, hellish reality. But all the drama, fighting, and anger ruined that for some people. The sanctuary had been turned into a living nightmare for them. Everybody at each other's throats, accusations flying left and right. It breaks my heart to see Chipspeech in this sad state, with people leaving it altogether because of what's been happening. With so many people leaving the fandom, a lot of whom don't have a nice thing to say about the people here, this fandom is in danger of shriveling up and dying completely. If this toxicity just keeps ramping up like it has been, soon everybody but the people directly involved in this fight will be gone. And what would happen to the new people just discovering Chipspeech? They would see all the pain and bloodshed that this group of people have inflicted and stay away. Or they might venture in, but immediately be approached by this group and warned about the other half of the fandom, because this group is obsessed with getting people on their side at any cost. And if the new person refuses to join the clique and rally against people they don't know, the group attempts to exterminate them. They're shunned and talked about, just like my friends have been. Every single time a new person gets into Chipspeech, they're thrust into a brutal, bloody civil war and are forced to pick a side. It's no wonder that the fandom is doing so poorly. It's no wonder we're stagnating. This isn't right. Forcing innocent people to fight your battles that they weren't involved in, battles against an enemy that died a long time ago, and even against enemies that don't really exist. They want to be saviors. They want to help the weak, but all that this group has been doing is hurting the same people they want to protect. They go on about how Chipspeech is a safe space for LGBT people, but so many LGBT people have been crushed by this group and made to feel unwelcome or like they weren't really LGBT for not joining this group. I know most of the people that this happened to personally, and they're all wonderful, sweet people who wouldn't hurt a fly. Sometimes I feel like I'm not as valid of a bisexual person for all this, honestly. Yet this group paints everyone besides themselves and their friends in the fandom with the labels of Nazi, bigot, transphobe, whatever else these people said. Still, the fighting continues. And now, people outside the walls of Chipspeech are beginning to notice. Fans of Plogue's other products, according to my good friend Interjed, who, by the way, isn't the aforementioned boyfriend, are frankly horrified by us. They're embarrassed by us. And they say that we've brought down not just Chipspeech's reputation, but Plogue's reputation. Let me say that again. The Chipspeech fandom has become a stain on Plogue's reputation. An embarrassment. We are now Plogue's bastard children. I'm sure that they've noticed this too, and that's probably what worries the most about this whole situation. What if people quit buying Chipspeech and using it because they just want to distance themselves from the fans that badly? Or what if Plogue themselves decide they've had enough of us and cut Chipspeech off entirely and abandon it altogether? That's what people like Ender and I have been trying to say when we said that this aggressive gatekeeping and attitude are killing Chipspeech. How much longer will Plogue be willing to associate themselves with us before they abandon Chipspeech? I don't want Chipspeech to die. I don't want the fandom to die. These characters are, maybe not my whole world, but a lot of it. A lot more of my world than I could ever explain. To this group, once again, is this the legacy you believe Chipspeech deserves? A place in history as one of the most vicious, toxic fandoms out there? A place where any mistake gets you the death penalty? There's no escape from the fighting? Intentions are so high that they eclipse the vocal synth we all originally came here for? A place that's so toxic that even the creators are distancing themselves from the monster they believe they've made? Do you really believe Chipspeech deserves this fate? Because that's almost certainly what will happen should things continue on this path. So, what can we do now? Now that it seems all is lost and that Chipspeech is doomed to fade into obscurity as a forgotten footnote of internet and speech synthesis history, the first thing we all as a community can do is to not lose hope. Things can and will get better for us. We can turn this fandom from being locked in a civil war into a kind, healthy environment to be in and make Plode proud of us rather than ashamed. To the group that I've been repeatedly mentioning, I have just a few things to say to you. None of us are asking for your friendship, for you to change your opinions when it comes to current events, or anything like that. We're only asking you to stop subjecting everyone in this fandom to this conflict, to allow people to remain neutral, to stop talking about people, and allow everyone to judge people for themselves. We're asking you to stop attacking people, to understand that people can grow and change, and to understand that Glitchcreek and I stopped being friends over this because I stood up for Chiploiter. And also know that Glitchcreek doesn't even like Chipspeech anymore, so she won't pose a threat to you all any longer. We're asking you to just let me and my other friends who were completely innocent in this matter exist and enjoy Chipspeech. Because for most of us, Chipspeech represents something magical and beautiful that shouldn't be taken away. Please, for the good of Chipspeech itself and new people to the fandom, release your stranglehold on it and just let people exist. Most people are mature enough to make decisions for themselves about who's a good person and who's not. Please don't take that choice away from them. All we're asking for is peace. That's all any of us wanted. Peace for all Chipspeech fans. To new fans just getting into Chipspeech, breathe. It's going to be alright. Remember that you don't have to listen to hearsay and rumors, especially when it comes to broad accusations against a person's character. Ignore the people trying to sow discontent in the fandom and judge people for yourself. I want to empower you all to make your own decisions about people here. And this applies to both me and the group of people I'm talking about. You should be able to come to your own conclusions about this situation without fear of retribution from anybody involved. You can also help by just being here. I know it can be difficult, but please don't give in to the backlash and negativity. Don't join either side of this battle. Just keep doing what you love. Keep making fan content and enjoying Chipspeech like you want to. Despite what some people here might say, there's no right or wrong way to enjoy Chipspeech. Anything you can contribute to Chipspeech is welcome and appreciated by the rest of us who do want peace and love here. The more people we have making content and spreading positivity, the harder it will be for people to come to the conclusion that Chipspeech is a spiteful, toxic place. It can be hard though, especially when it feels like you're the only one. But trust me, you're not alone. There are plenty of people who just want peace in Chipspeech and just want to vibe to great music and geek out about robots. You can also get more people into Chipspeech. Show them the characters, your favorite songs, whatever you want to show them as an introduction to these amazing characters. And finally, you can spread the word. Share this video with anybody you know likes Chipspeech, particularly if they don't like me or believe that this war in the fandom is just and right. Tell people who previously avoided Chipspeech due to the drama that there's an overwhelming majority of fans who want to set things right and foster a healthy, productive community. The fandom might be very sick right now, but I know we can make it better together. The situation isn't hopeless. Chipspeech can and will come back better than ever. Thank you so much for watching all this and listening to me. It really means a lot to me, and I sincerely hope every single one of y'all has a beautiful day and is happy. Until next time, everybody. I decided to add this part in last minute after editing the rest of the video. For one, I was watching my old open letter and I realized there were a lot of things I worded really badly. I unfortunately didn't write down everything I had an issue with, but the main one I know of is where I made a really clunky analogy that made it sound like I was trying to compare being non-binary to smoking, doing drugs, and having casual sex. I'm really sorry. That wasn't what I was trying to say at all. For one, I've changed my mind since when I first got into the fandom about trans and non-binary identities. The way I see it, it's a perfectly valid life choice to make, and if it helps you feel more comfortable in your own skin and helps you be yourself more authentically, go for it. I'll definitely support you in that in any way I can, be it using different pronouns from now on, or whatever. I can promise you, I've changed my mind and realized I was wrong about a lot of things since the drama I'd become known for. I'm not a bully and I hate bullies. And I really just want to stress I'm not the kind of bigoted bully that you'd think I am. At least, not anymore. I really have changed. People can change and learn they were wrong. It happens all the time. I also wanted to clarify it's okay for people to not like me. Not everyone's going to like you, and I'm not expecting to be friends with everyone who likes Chipspeech. There's people out there who are claiming that I'm harassing people who left my server, Cider Labs, for not wanting to be my friend. I don't want to name names, obviously, but they're basically saying I'm begging people to come back and forgive me, which, with all due respect, I have no idea where you got that from. I never posted anything, be it on Twitter, Tumblr, or YouTube, saying, so-and-so, please come back, I still want to be friends, or anything like that. I remember posting one tweet about someone who used to be friends with me, but ended up leaving my server. But I wasn't asking them to come back, I was saying I'm gonna miss them, and that if they'd be happier without me, that's okay, and I'm really glad we were friends, and I'll still look back fondly on the good times we had and all the fun Chipspeech stuff we did. That's it. That's the only time I ever addressed someone who decided to stop talking to me or left my server, and I didn't even say their name. I only made a tweet about that happening once, and that was because me and the person I brought up were friends. I drew their characters, and we shared headcanons a lot and made memes together. If we hadn't been friends, I wouldn't have said anything. I've also had multiple people accuse me of hiding my transphobia or otherwise covering things up to avoid taking responsibility. We need to talk about that. I've already apologized for the things that I said multiple times on Twitter, twice on Tumblr, and counting this video twice on YouTube. I deleted that politics blog that y'all keep mentioning because that isn't me anymore. It's not something I identify with anymore. That's a time of my life that I'm ashamed of and want to move on from. I don't want to be thought of as something I'm not anymore. Have you ever done something cringy in the past that you don't want to be known for and you want to distance yourself from? Be honest. Everyone's done at least one really awful thing they regret or don't even want to admit to themselves happened. And that's what mine was. The stupid transphobic edgy stuff I said because I wanted people online to think that I was fierce and badass. I feel like I'm just repeating myself endlessly, but I seriously regret that time in my life. I regret becoming a bully in an effort to scare off bullies. I don't want to wear that as a badge of shame and tout the fact that I used to be a bully and hateful person. I don't want people to think of me as what I used to be. I want people to think of me as what I am now. I'm not gonna introduce myself to people like, "Hi, my name's Glitchy. I'm a horrible transphobe and bigoted person. Every awful thing that you can think I am. Please, block me right away and tell everyone you know to block me. Don't interact with me because I'm nothing but a festering, infected sore on the face of Chipspeech. The world would be so much better off if I wasn't fucking born at all, and I want you to make me aware of that by talking about me." That wouldn't be taking responsibility. That would just be beating myself up, and I already have problems with doing that. I already have a self-image that's at absolute rock bottom, and I'm really trying my hardest to get out of that hole. My point is, the girl I was back in 2020 is dead now. She's been dead for a while. Please, stop trying to exhume her body, and leave my friends alone. They didn't do anything.